Hello, I'm AnimeMixer1, AM1 for short, and today I'm gonna talk to you about the seasonal anime of the winter and spring 2017. I would usually do each season by itself, but I've been really busy, so I haven't really had time to do one season, and by the time I had time to do the winter season, the spring season was like halfway done, so I figured I'd do both in one. And now they're both done. And while everybody else is telling you what they're gonna be watching in the summer, I'm gonna be telling you what I thought of what has come before. So let's get sequels out of the way first. First, Konosuba Season 2. I was never really that big of a fan of the original Konosuba, but it was fun. I'll admit it was fun. However, Season 2 seems to have fallen into the pit of let's repeat the same joke over and over until it's no longer funny. In this case, it's darkness being all, pain! I mean, if you liked Season 1, then you could still watch Season 2 and enjoy it, but it's not as good as Season 1 was, so you might leave disappointed, be warned. Another sequel, a surprise one at least for me, was Aono Exorcist, aka Blue Exorcist in English, which got a Season 2. Now the important thing to remember about this Season 2 is that in order to watch it, you have to forget the last half of Season 1, basically. Because Season 1 comes with its own anime-only ending. It wasn't particularly good, but it sort of wrapped things up and ended it, and I thought that was it. That was all we were ever going to see. But now they wanted to continue it, but they couldn't because it had already ended. So now they're just starting you in where where they deviated from the manga, and it's sort of weird to watch it because when I first watched it, I didn't know this. So it's just, wait, what's going on now? But that being said, I did enjoy it. It was kind of good to see it again. It's not really nostalgic for me since it wasn't exactly like the first anime I ever watched or something. But it was good to see again. It was the same characters, and some of them good, some of them bad, some of them bland. But it's just sort of, it's an okay anime to watch overall, and I enjoyed it. And the action is pretty good. And it even had a moment where I damn near cried. I don't know why, I just did. I don't get emotional easily, but I almost cried in this anime. But anyway, let's now talk about Santa Maria. Mamma Mia. We're talking about Chaos Child. I'm just doing all the prep work. Anybody have any garlic? Nobody has any garlic. Okay, so Chaos Child is the long-awaited, in very strong quotation marks, sequel of Chaos Head, which is basically the worst anime I've ever had to watch to completion. I hated it, and then I saw Chaos Child was coming in, and of course I had to watch it. Now hang on a minute, if you might say. If Chaos Head was so bad, why would you watch the sequel? The direct sequel? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Now, one is that while Chaos Head was terrible, it is linked with Steins Gate, one of the best anime I've ever seen to completion. So it's like, how does that even work? And the problem is that while Steins Gate is just sort of connected and in the same universe, Chaos Child is a direct sequel. I was kinda hopeful that maybe it would have Steins Gate-ish like quality at least, so it would be at least decent, but I wasn't really hoping for that much since it, you know, directly related and all that. But despite my better judgment, I watched it, and you know that feeling when you watch a train wreck happening in slow motion? Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch that, isn't it? And because I was expecting it to be terrible, I could just look at it and judge the terribleness of the wreckage. So to any of you watching, don't watch Chaos Child and don't watch Chaos Head. Just don't watch any of those things. Watch Steins Gate. Steins Gate is good. Not sure if you can exactly call this one a sequel, but I'm gonna put it under sequels anyway. It's the latest season of Gintama, which aired in the winter, and let's just say it's Gintama. It's good. They're now up at like what, 330 episodes total, something like that, which sounds like a lot, but they've had a lot of breaks recently. But what we get in terms of quality is just amazing. The fights are epic, the humor is otherworldly and makes me break out laughing constantly. The characters are amazing. The story is, well, as much as a story as you can get from Gintama, I guess. I mean, just try to shove in some semblance of a story in there, just shove it in. And it's kind of silly. Actually, it's really silly, but it kind of works because it's Gintama. We don't take it seriously. It is fun, it is epic, it is stupid, it is everything you just want from just sitting down and enjoying yourself. Though a quick note, I thought this last season of it was not as good as the previous season, which was in a whole other world, but still I think it's really worth watching, and it seems like they're heading towards some sort of final battle conclusion, something for the entire anime. Though I don't know how the manga is going. I've thought about reading the manga, but honestly the anime is more than enough for me. So hoping for more really soon. And now we're back on something bad. It is Rewrite second season. Now this one is pretty much obligatory to watch if you watch season 1, because then otherwise you don't understand anything. Not that there was a lot to understand to begin with, it seems, because the second season is just a lot of convoluted bullshit that didn't get explained in the first season, but the first season is just sort of weird and doesn't really do things very well. It's weird. It's bad in this sort of weird and inexplainable way that I just can't put it into words. I just know it's bad. There's one point where I think it really fails though, because it had season 1 had the ending, which was just, is it actually a bad ending? Are they actually saying that, okay, because the main character was being such a bullshit person and going, oh, I'm gonna save everybody, then nobody gets saved? That actually deserves credit, and then they go then the last 30 seconds just show that, oh, but this is just one of possible routes, because this is of course a visual novel adaptation, and there you have all sorts of different endings, and then the second season sort of builds on that, and gets sort of made it sort of interesting, but then it gets into this story mode, which is really stupid, weird, I don't know, nothing makes sense, it's a wreck. Even the animation, which is something I generally don't care about in anime, is so bad, I notice it. So just avoid Rewrite altogether. It's not that it's terrible, but it's just too convoluted and bad and poorly written. And finally, among the sequels, there is Nanbaka. Now, Nanbaka Season 1 ended up as one of the funniest anime of 2016. However, it tried to incorporate some sort of a story, and it just undercut everything about the humor. The characters are also kind of bland once you get to know them. There really doesn't seem to be a lot of semblance of growth in it. The second season fixes a few of the problems, giving the characters some room for growth. We get introduced to new characters, new plot points. However, this comes at the expense of the humor, which was what made it good to begin with. It tries to be more dramatic, more dark and epic, but that just doesn't work for it. And I can't help but feel like it's tried to be like Gintama. That kind of humor where you can mix the epicness with the humor and the wacky things and some story elements and whatnot, but it just can't do it. The characters just don't manage to pull out that sort of quality. But of course, if you don't have Gintama as a reference like I do, then Nanbaka should suit you just fine. Though note that the second season ended on a sort of cliffhanger. I'm hoping for season 3, and hopefully that'll be the last season, because otherwise it might just overstay its welcome entirely. That's it for sequels. Now let's move on to the other series. First, Kobayashi-san's Maid Dragon. Now this anime was just adorable and cute. Let's just say it like that. It's a slice of life about dragons coming to the human world and trying to live with humans, basically. That's basically, there's a lot more nuance to it than that, but that's basically all you need to know. The dragons all have human form and look very decent like human beings, and are very cute when they're girls, actually. It's humorous, cute, relaxing to watch, and just overall enjoyable. But the final episode of it was just... I didn't like it. Because the final episode was different from everything else. I thought that they would do something humorous about this whole sort of dangerous epic thing that was happening. But no, it was just they tried to shift the tone entirely, and that just ruined it all for me. But up till then, it was a very good slice of life humor show, and I definitely recommend people watching it if they're looking for something fun and relaxing. You know, just lean back, have a bowl of popcorn, and just sit there and eat. And I actually ate all the popcorn yesterday, so there isn't anything. I just pretend I'm eating popcorn. But yeah, just sit down with your bowl of popcorn, eat, relax, enjoy life. One anime which is not purely popcorn material though is Youjo Senki, or in English, The Saga of Tanya the Evil. It is one of those few anime you find where the main character is basically the villain of her own story. It's such an amazing twist to it. Or rather, it's not exactly a twist, but it is very uncommon, and I don't think I've ever seen it done this well. Basically, the little girl is an accountant from a previous life who has picked a fight with God. Now go watch it! Seriously, go watch it. It is one of the best, if not the best anime from the season. Now those were the new anime I watched this season, and it doesn't sound like a lot. I didn't have a lot of time to actually watch anything, which is why I almost only watch sequels this season, because that means I already know the anime, I don't have to get into it, and I know what to expect of it. Some anime I did hear about, and which I considered watching, but haven't gotten around to yet, is among others Little Witch Academia, which I have watched. I found time to watch the 2 OVAs that were made to begin with, or was it an OVA or a movie, or I don't know what exactly they were defined as, but they were like longer than your normal anime episode, but they weren't movies and all that, so I think they're OVAs, basically. I haven't gotten around to watching the series, and I don't know if it's actually my taste, but it's something I could enjoy watching, potentially. I heard mixed things about Fuka, but it's on my list of things I could potentially watch at some point. Then there's Aka, ACCA, which I didn't watch, but I heard it got good towards the end, so good for everybody who watched it, and I hope to get time to watch it myself sometime. It was on my list of things I wanted to watch this season, but I didn't get around to it. I was also thinking about Handshakers, but I've seen some clips from that show, and whoa, it looks weird. And as far as I've heard, it's got an appalling story and a very terrible character, so basically, I'm not gonna end up watching it, I think, so maybe I dodged a bullet there. Not that watching Chaos Child helped any on that. And finally, probably one of the most divisive anime of the season, Kemono Friends. I didn't watch it, but I've thought about watching it because I want to make up an opinion of it. I hear some people love it, I hear some people hate it, I hear some people are just meh about it. It's just, what's happening? What is this thing? I need to know. So I'm gonna watch that at some point, but I haven't yet. But I would actually just blindly suggest you watch it just to get to make up your own mind. Even if I in the future hate it, I'll probably still tell you to watch it to make up your mind on whether or not you thought it was good or bad. Now to round out the winter season, I'm just gonna be telling you about some anime that ended, which I watched. Among them is Sangatsu no Lion, which I think is a really good dramatic anime, and it's got a really good style to it, and good characters, and a lot of room for thought. But it was one thing that always bothered me. Now I have liked to compare this to Hikaru no Go, which is about a boy who learns how to play Go. Now it's different in tone and style a lot, but for both there's a game at the center. In Hikaru no Go, it's the game Go, which is a board game they play a lot in Japan. In Sangatsu no Lion is Shogi, which is a board game played a lot in Japan. Now in Hikaru no Go, you got the rules and hints and tips and sort of playthroughs, basic playthroughs of the important parts as the series went along. You got to know the game more and more, the rules, the standards, how you behave, how you do things, just common courtesy things. In Sangatsu no Lion, I think the characters and overall story and drama are better, but where's the love for the game? I have no idea about the game at the end at all. There's one point where they just tell us how the pieces move. Yeah, sure, the pieces move like that, but are there limits to how they can take different pieces? And there's something about how you can take the opponent's pieces and make them your own and place them out on the board someplace? But I have no idea how that works! How does that work? I have no idea about the rules. If they want to show an anime where a game is a focus, then tell us the damn rules about the game! So I can at least care about what the main character is doing. The way this has gone is just, I don't care about the game, I don't care about when he plays the game. I watch it for the drama of the characters, which is the focus, admittedly, but a big part of it is still the game of Shogi. Tell me the rules, I need to know, in order to care. Another anime which ended this season was Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Now I have watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever since very, very, very long ago, and I'm too deep in to stop. So even now that there is a 6th series coming in, I'm not stopping. I have to watch because I have to know how this goes. I've watched basically everything Yu-Gi-Oh! Except for that last movie which came out, which I'm just waiting for a good chance to watch. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 is a bit of a weird one because it started out good, and then it just sort of went nowhere, and then it dipped. It got to a place where it suddenly just, boom, went down. as such, I don't think it's really worth watching. So if you're ever watching Yu-Gi-Oh at all, what I can recommend you is watch the original, watch GX, watch 5Ds, and stop. Don't watch Sail, don't bother with Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and the 6th series Vrains, which is airing now, is one that I don't care much about yet. It's sort of generic, bland, boring. I might talk a bit about that later. And then finally, the very final thing to talk about the winter season is of course one anime that finally ended. Naruto Shippuden. It's done. It is done. It is finished! It is finished, I tell you! It's true! Naruto Shippuden, after 700 episodes, after over 700, it's like 720 episodes total together with the original Naruto, which is before the time skip. 720 episodes in total. That's 20 more than the manga had chapters, and it finally ended. But let me just say it like this: a manga covers about a third of an episode, or to say it another way, a episode of an anime can cover about 3 chapters of manga each episode. That's a rough average. Sometimes you stretch it out so it covers only 2, and sometimes you condense it all down so it covers 4. But 3 is more or less the average. So keeping this in mind, that means that since the anime actually has more episodes than the manga has chapters, about 35% of it is filler. And even what's not filler is basically just us watching the flashbacks of the characters over and over and over and over until we just, yes, we know that happened. Stop reminding us and move on. Even when the manga was done, they weren't finished with the filler. They kept up with the filler. They kept up making more filler material even after they had run out of manga material to adapt. I mean, when they were at episode 479 of Naruto Shippuden, meaning the total amount of episodes for all of Naruto was 699, I was hoping, okay, so they have only 1 chapter left now, and that's the epilogue chapter. They animate that, and they just make that into a good ending, and they stop. That's what I thought. And what would also be nice about that would have been that it would have ended on 700 episodes, which, while still meaning that 1/3 of the anime would have been filler, it would have also meant that the anime and manga had the same amount of episodes to chapters. So 700 chapters, 700 episodes. And it would have been like a nice courtesy. But no! Oh, they got past that with more filler and backstories that didn't exist and silly single storylines, and just it was annoying. And it was all to get a nice bridge over to the spring season of 2017 and what we all like to call Boruto, Naruto Next Generation, or in anime, Naruto Next Generation. I do a mean Japanese accent. So yes, Boruto, Naruto Next Generation. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's the next generation of Naruto, which has Boruto, Naruto's child, as the main character, and all the children of all the main characters you know and love/hate. And so far it all boils down to, it doesn't follow the manga, which I read. The characters are not exactly as we remember them, which is to expected, everybody's grown up. And it all boils down to nostalgia, and you know, wanting to make money, because Naruto is still popular, so making more Naruto is a popular thing. But then they needed more Naruto, but they couldn't keep on doing it with Naruto. So hey, how about their children get to do stuff? That's basically how I imagined the board meeting went. Okay, Naruto's over. What do we do now? Their children on adventures. I love it! Now, some people have asked themselves if they could watch Boruto even if they haven't finished watching Shippuden, and to that I say sort of, maybe? I mean, as someone who has watched Naruto to completion right now, I have a very good starting point for watching Boruto. But if I would have had that by not watching Naruto, I can't say for sure. So if you haven't watched Naruto, but you want to watch Boruto, then now's your chance to find out. Go ahead and watch it, I won't stop you, but I don't take any responsibility for what may or may not happen in terms of you liking it or not, because you might be confused or not know characters and shit. But now we're once again talking about sequels, so now let's talk about Shingeki no Kyojin Season 2 and Boku no Hero Academia Season 2. And yes, I'm talking about both of those basically at once. I'm gonna take them one at a time, but just basically mentioning them both at once because they're both very hyped anime. Let's start with Attack on Titan Season 2. It picks up from where we left it, very much from where we left it. That little, you remember that little thing in the end of season 1? And this isn't a spoiler, by the way, because it's so many years since this has. If you haven't watched, you know this by now, and if you don't, then too bad for you. You know that little thing where the wall just sort of peels away and there's the eye of a Titan. Now I thought that was just an artistic like foreshadowing of the Titans are coming, but no, it was actually a Titan behind the wall, or rather inside the wall. And from there we pick up season 2, which is a different tone. It is less action focused. The little bit of action that is very good, and towards the end has a really good moment with Erwin, the commander of the scouts. But it unravels some of the mysteries, some of the things we've been wondering about. Rather than being action focused, it takes its time to focus on the mysteries of this world and trying to get you interested in what are Titans and all the other interesting things about this universe. And it's genuinely creepy as well, because things happen that you didn't expect, and it's just, whoa, surprise, what? That sort of thing. So if you watched and liked season 1 of Attack on Titan, then move on to season 2, because they have also already announced season 3. Now, whether or not we'll have to wait 4 years for that, I don't know. They said 2018, that might end up being 2019, which might end up being 2020, which might end up being 2021. You never know. But here's hoping. Because when I found out that there was a season 2 announced, I had just started reading the manga because I had lost all hope. But I was just a few chapters in when the second season was announced, and I just said, okay, stop reading. I'm gonna just enjoy this when it comes. And since there's now an announced season 3, I will not be reading the manga yet either. But if it stops after that and it's still unsatisfactory, I will be picking it up. I just hope I don't have to. Now, Boku no Hero Academia, the second season. Now, for this season of anime, it has had a... Giga, will you take this?
Tournament!
Thank you. And now I can also admit to loving a good tournament arc. And just... It was a proper tournament. It wasn't just sort of, okay, a lot of people are just fighting against each other in what we say it's a competition, but there are no real rules or something. No, there's actual rules, actual things you have to do, and it's been a ton of fun seeing them compete to be the best. And now that season is over, and I'm not going to spoil anything in case you haven't watched it, but the second season of Boku no Hero Academia is not yet over, because while the first season was, 12 episodes, this one is 25, which means that more Boku no Hero Academia! Now, Boku no Hero Academia was my pick for Anime of the Year last year. Unfortunately, it didn't win because Yuri on Ice took everything it was ever nominated for. But I thought Boku no Hero Academia delivered the best package. Good characters, a decent story, good animation, good action, drama, everything that your heart desires. And the second season has not disappointed yet, so I will for sure keep watching, as I'm sure many others will do. And if you're among the few that haven't started watching Boku no Hero Academia yet, do yourself a favor, go watch it. But even though Attack on Titan and Boku no Hero Academia and Boruto are basically the most hyped up anime of the season for obvious reasons, there's one anime that has become my personal favorite of this specific season, which I just absolutely love it to death. And I had no idea what was up with it. I actually didn't get the time to sit down and start watching it until like last week, because I had been traveling a lot and I hadn't had time to watch anime, so I was busy just catching up on my seasonal anime to begin with, and I hadn't watched this to begin with. I hadn't had time to pick it up or anything, but now I've sat down, I had time to watch it, and I figured I am really curious about it, and it is Recreators. I'd heard some good things about it, but it was just sort of a meh anime for some people, but I adore it. It is so good. Now, why do I think it's good? Why is it my personal pick of best of the season? Well, it's kind of hard to explain when it's sort of a personal favorite, because I don't think it has the mass appeal of Boku no Hero Academia or Attack on Titan, but it appeals to me on a very personal level, as someone who has tried to write books and fictional stories, and who is into anime and all that stuff, and it's all this sort of, what if the characters from your stories, from your anime, from your whatever, come into the real world for some reason? What would happen? That's basically the premise of the story, and it's being done so well. I just love it. There's not much more to say about that, other than the fact that the first and second episodes are really, really high action, high end, just all the way overdrive. I mean, the first episode starts really slow and then it goes overdrive plus and just boom. I mean, I was confused, but I was excited. What more can I say? Now, it has calmed down a little bit at times. It has explained a few things to us, the viewers, but it's still really, really good. And the action is amazing, as the characters are superb. So I would advise anyone to watch this, especially if you do creative work or work with it or whatever. It's just really good to watch for creative people who work with creative work, you know, artists, writers, you know, that stuff. An anime which sort of goes the other way is Gin no Guardian, which has the main character get into a game, and I know this sounds very sort of online-esque, but it's not that way. I actually haven't really found out how that game works. They've been sort of avoiding that topic. But while there's a lot of information left, and the fact that it is a half episode long per episode series, so each episode lasts for about 12 minutes, not the standard 24-25 minutes. And the animation budget isn't really that good either. But I overall enjoyed it to the extent that I could at least watch to completion. It's not like the best, but it has some good characters and some good humor in it. So if you got the time, you can pick it up. If not, I'm not gonna blame you if you don't. It's just that sort of anime. And just a little quick shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, not because it's necessarily good, because why the heck is this a 6th series of this? It should have ended with Arc 5. It wouldn't have been the best of endings, but it would just rounded off the entire series, but no, they have to. And the thing is, I have been playing a mobile game called Duel Links for a while, and there you have, instead of the 5 monsters of the 5 spell, because I mean, this is all gibberish to anyone who hasn't watched Yu-Gi-Oh! At all or played it or whatever, but rather than 5 monster zones and 5 spell zones, you have 3 of each zone. So it's just, I thought it was just to make it more compact for a mobile game, but no, that's actually how they played in Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns too, because yeah, you know, we have to advertise for the game. And it's introduced a new summoning method once again, which I don't get yet. Hopefully it will be better explained with time. But so far, not overly impressed at all. And that's it for the Spring 2017 season of what I watched. And if it sounds like I didn't watch a lot, then you're right. I didn't watch a lot. I didn't have time to watch a lot. I had exams. I had traveling to do. I had work to be done. So I didn't have time to watch stuff like Hinako Note, which I hear is pretty good, but it's something I didn't seem very interested in at the time, and I am not very interested in it still, but it's just sort of, I can watch it one time when I maybe have time. I didn't have time to watch Sakura Quest, which I also heard very good things about, but again, no time. There was Clockwork Planet, which reminded me of Clockwork Orange, but I don't know if it has any similarities in the style or tone or whatever, but I didn't have time to watch that either, even though I was curious and really wanted to. I even put an anime on hold this season because I didn't have time to watch it. It was Sakura That Reset. I watched the first episode, and I was only able to put it on hold because after the first episode I was just so appalled and bored by its whatever it was. I mean, the characters were so dull, the animation was so dull, the story was so boring. It was just, it was a symphony of boredom, help me! So even though I actually planned to keep watching it, I ended up not watching it and putting it on hold for now. I might not keep watching it altogether, who knows. It was just boring. But that's the thing, I watch things to completion. When I start watching things, there are very, very strict feelings that have to come into play for me to not watch to completion. There are very few things that I have on hold and dropped in my anime list user. You can find a link to it down below if you want to find out what I've been watching. But Sakura Reset was just boring to death. So in my busy schedule I didn't have time to watch it, so I just had to move along. There was even no time for me to be bothered with or want to watch or care about Eromanga Sensei. It has a reputation now as probably the trashiest show in anime. And of course that means you have to watch it. I wasn't really interested to begin with, but you know, there's been a lot of spectacle about it, so sometimes you just have to watch them to make sure that you have your own opinion about it. It doesn't really help me that it's sort of a spiritual successor to Oreimo, which I never watched either, because I don't care about that sort of very close to being incest. I got enough of that in Sword Art Online. Not sure if I'm ever gonna watch it, honestly. I might not. But I'm really frightened of getting into that rabbit hole. But yeah, this has been my little summary of the winter and spring season of 2017 anime. I hope you got something good out of it. I hope you got some good tips for what to watch and what not to watch. Feel free to leave a comment below if you want to tell me your opinion on something. And I hope to see you all in another video. And until then, remember, I have been Anime Mixer 1, and I approve of this video.